don't look anything like Shelley Duvall.
I'm sorry.
You're supposed to have straight black hair.
But I don't naturally have straight black hair. Do you have a wig?
Your mum does.
Hi, welcome to the Venture Movie Club.
Here's Daddy!
No, do that again.
Oh,
Say, here's Charlie.
Oh. What, you don't want people to know I'm your dad?
Well, I know you... Hiya, welcome to the Venture Movie Club.
Say it again.
Hiya, welcome to the Venture Movie Club.
Here's... Who?
Charlie!
I couldn't remember what to say.
You couldn't remember your own name?
No, what am I saying? Charlie, Daddy, Johnny. Here's the Venture Movie Club. And in this episode...
We're talking about The Shining.
Oh yes, The Shining from 1980. Directed by Stanley Kubrick. Who also directed Full Metal Jacket.
Oh.
Have you seen Full Metal Jacket? You've got to see it. It's a great film. Eyes Wide Shut.
Oh wow, yeah.
Spartacus. Clockwork Orange. 2001 Space Odyssey.
Oh wow, there's a lot of good films.
And it stars Shelley Duvall, who was in Popeye and Annie Hall. And is sitting with us today.
I look nothing like her.
Woo. Also Jack Nicholson, who's in Witches of Eastwick, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
That man?
Yeah. You've got to be able to name at least 5 Jack Nicholson films.
Off the top of my head. No, I can think of another one, but I'm trying to remember what it is. It's the one of the ones that was directed by the person who did The Parent Trap.
What? Oh God.
He was in one of the...
No, Something's
Hold
Got to
on.
Give.
I think it is Something's Got to Give.
Yeah. And there's also
Yeah, it is Something's Got to Give, yeah.
As Good as It Gets, The Departed, Wolf.
Yeah, a lot of good films.
Yeah. 5 Easy Pieces, Chinatown. It's been some great films. He used to be one of my favourite actors when I was little. In fact, because in Wishes of Eastwick he's got this tiny little stupid ponytail, at one point I wanted to grow my hair and have a stupid little ponytail.
Now you can't do that.
No, God went, what? And took my hair away. Stopped me making such a stupid mistake. You've also got Scatman Crothers, who worked with Jack Nicholson in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and is also in...
Oh, the Aristocats.
Yes. He's Scat Cat. Cat who likes being pooed on.
Oh.
You've also got Joe Turkel, who plays Lloyd. He was in Blade Runner.
Oh.
No, the Lloyd is the barman, keeps appearing.
Yeah.
Mr. Torrance. Yeah, this is of... We had to talk about this one since next episode for Halloween. I want to talk about my top 10 Stephen King films. This one is probably going to be in it. Almost definitely going to be in it. Probably quite high because it is one of my favourite Stephen King films, even though he, of course, didn't like it, did he?
No, he did not. He was very much not a fan of this adaptation of his book.
Do you know why?
Sorry. I know why.
Yeah.
No, I know what. No. King was deeply disappointed in the end result despite having admired Kubrick for a long time and had great expectations for the project. This led to King later producing his own miniseries adaptation in 1997 that stayed more faithful to his original vision.
And with a load of pants.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. It just... Look, I do like... Obviously, I like Stephen King a lot. I like his ideas. But he will be the first to admit often, what you done there, how you changed that is better than what I'd originally written. You know.
Yeah, I think part of the other reason that King was unhappy with it was because of the way that they changed a lot of the characters in comparison to the novel.
Why? What are they like in the novel?
So Jack within the film differs significantly with regard to characterization and motivation of action, particularly regarding the personality of Jack. In the book, Jack is a more sympathetic character, struggling with alcoholism and anger issues, but genuinely trying to be a good father and husband. Whereas Kubrick's Jack appears unhinged from the beginning to an extent. And within the novel, he's struggling a lot more and is really trying not to be like his own father was.
Right.
But he ends up succumbing to the Overlook Hotel. So
yeah, he's sort of like from the very beginning when he's saying about, she don't trust me around the boy because he made all this mess. I yanked his arm a little bit too much, and whereas, I suppose most genuine caring fathers, if they did make a mistake like that, they would be riddled with guilt. Probably wouldn't be openly talking about it.
Yeah.
They'd probably be like, I feel so bad for what I've done to him. I hope one day he can forgive me. I hope she can forgive me. Whereas in this, he seems quite bitter. Even though she doesn't sort of bring it up, you think as if, like, I know she resents me for that. And he's sort of, he's acting like he's the victim.
Not just that, it's almost completely absent the fact that the reason he is so guilty in the book is because he was a teacher previously and he had injured a student.
Ah, is that? It's not mentioned in the film.
I don't think so.
No.
Which, again...
through anger?
Yeah, with his anger issues, and that's why he's battling so hard to make sure he's not like that towards his own son and wife. I think he loses his job, hence why he works at the Overlook Hotel. But obviously in the novel he succumbs to the hotel, I guess. And it's a more devastating blow, that whereas in this you kind of see the madness from the beginning. You don't really...
Yeah, you don't have as much sympathy for him. He's also relatable in the sense that even to this day, even in the modern day, you come across men like this.
Yeah.
I see men talking like this at work. They'll be very like, well, I'm just a guy, I just want this, I want that, and the kids get on my nerves, and my wife, she won't shut up, and just seems very bitter at the world, as if like, I'm just a guy's guy, I want to relax and do, and that's how he sort of comes across. So when he's sort of very like, he demands respect from his wife and his child, but he doesn't necessarily earn it.
Yeah.
Whereas more, you get less and less of these types of men nowadays. More men are sort of, some would say it's gone too far the other way, but I think the good balance of a man is a man to earn the respect. Is to do the right thing put his family first. He can enjoy his life, but if you've made a commitment, then you should adhere to it.
Another thing is the supernatural elements are a big difference. In the book, various topiary hedge animals come to life towards the end, but Kubrick didn't think this could be animated well enough, so he opted for the huge maze in the middle of the hotel grounds instead.
So the maze isn't in the book then?
I believe not.
Oh, that's interesting. It's very clever though, because it's good that because Stanley Kubrick, arguably one of the greatest filmmakers ever, he's so meticulous with every project he works on. That's why he weren't the kind of director to do a film a year. It's about a film every 7 years or something.
Yeah.
And it's famous. Every single shot is there for a reason. It's got a purpose behind it. For him to sort of think, and he will really push the boundary and take his time. For him to decide we can't do the topiary animals, then he wouldn't have risked his own career trying to do it.
No.
You had stop animation then. You could have done a Harryhausen type thing where they're sort of moving, and at the time could have got away with it, but would have been looked dated now. So it's good how he could see into the future of that, and it's very clever to use that maze because that maze is such an iconic for the film. It's such an iconic feature.
Yeah.
There's some great imagery with the maze, and it's that bit at the end when he's chasing Danny through the maze and Danny outwits him by covering his tracks. That's such a clever way to end the film. I know I'm not meaning to step on your toes, but it's quite well known that the book ends differently, doesn't it, to the film?
Yeah. Kubrick's ending is significantly different from the one in King's book, where no one but Jack is harmed. In the original novel, the hotel's boiler explodes, destroying the Overlook entirely, while Jack sacrifices himself to save his family. The film ends with Jack frozen in the hedge maze with the hotel still standing. Which is...
So yeah, again, it makes Jack a much more sympathetic character. I suppose this is why King didn't like the film then, because
Yeah.
the character Jack, who's in the he's trying to write this novel, so Stephen King will often have the right for a writer because that's what he is. He probably related a little bit more to the Jack in the book and thought, what would I do? I'd sacrifice myself, you know. But in the film, takes all of that away and makes him a much more selfish individual, trying to kill his son, and his demise is purely for him being outwitted.
The fundamental philosophical difference is that in King's book, Jack is possessed by an evil spirit that tries to drive him to harm those he loves, making the hotel itself the primary antagonist. Obviously, Kubrick's version suggests the evil comes from within Jack himself, making it more about human psychology than supernatural possession.
Yeah, I mean, I see it. I don't know the novel, but I always see the film as the hotel can influence you if that part of that little bit of wickedness is in you anyway, and it can amplify it.
Yeah.
So if they'd gone somewhere else, chances are Jack would never have gone to that extreme. He would still been quite an abusive husband and parent, but it'd been more sort of psychological, putting her down because you can see she looks really sort of like downtrodden, the most downtrodden woman you can imagine in cinema. I think if you Google downtrodden woman in cinema, she'd probably be at the top of the list.
But that isn't even just because of obviously the film, it's because of Kubrick.
Yeah, and I heard about he was abusive to her. I mean, he's known for making people take hundreds of takes. The baseball bat scene, they had done 127 takes. So that would be quite hard to do. I know him chopping down the door with the axe. They went through like hundreds of doors, and that would take a toll on your body.
Yeah.
Like the DOMs, they probably both felt the next day, like her with a baseball bat. And yeah, I've seen behind the scene things, him shouting at her and him just constantly putting her down. And like, didn't she like lose some hair and stuff like that
Oh yeah, it
through the
was
stress of
horrible.
it? In fact, she was actually nominated for a Razzie for the film. It's a bit harsh. That's worst
Yeah.
actress, but it was rescinded in 2022, and the statement they put with it was, "We have since discovered that Duvall's performance was impacted by Stanley Kubrick's treatment of her throughout the production." So that's why they rescinded it. I
Yeah.
mean, it's only a nomination, but it's still, it's a bit.
It's harsh.
I think it's harsh because I don't. She's not a bad actress. She's a good actress, and I think she does put across that she's trying to stay. What's wrong, Danny? She's desperately trying to keep it, but she keep the family together. But she looks like someone who's had to put up with years with his condescending and him sort of constantly putting her down, and like she's trying to keep upbeat about it, and she just can't sort of carry on. So she's on the verge of a mental breakdown anyway.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting the bit at the end. I would like to know if it was in the book when the bit, when they're running about the hotel, and then she starts seeing the ghosts as well in the hotel.
Yeah.
Like she sees the couple in the bed wearing the weird masks, very much like an Eyes Wide Shut type thing. See, that is probably heavily influenced. Kubrick used to often show things that he knew were happening in the world. It's obviously it's loads of it is conspiracy, but things like regarding the moon landings,
Yeah.
it's saying that there's a really good feature length documentary about The Shining called Room, whatever the room number is, 237.
Yeah. Fun fact as well, in the book it's a different number entirely. It's 217.
And the moon, funny enough, is 237,000 miles from Earth on
Oh.
average. So some theorists would say, well, that's the reason he's changed it. He's given hints to his involvement in faking the moon landings. Even, as I said, he takes great time, and every single item of clothing is greatly thought out. So you see like Danny's Apollo 11 jumper, the one that supposedly went to the moon. You've really got to watch it. That
Yeah.
Room 237. It's a fantastic. It's as I said, it's mainly based up with his conspiracy theories. But the thing with like all the masks and the weird elite people, that's something they went even more so into in Eyes Wide Shut. And some people speculate that's why he died soon after Eyes Wide Shut. He's basically trying to expose these elite parties of people going to islands and sleeping with people they shouldn't be sleeping with and such. All their like debauchery.
Something amusing that Stanley Kubrick did to Jack Nicholson to make him so angry in the film was that he hated cheese sandwiches,
Okay.
and he used to make him eat cheese sandwiches every day. It made him that angry because he really hated cheese sandwiches. They helped him in the film, which is a really weird fact. But
yeah,
and you contrast it with the abuse that Shelley instead had for the film. It's not
well,
great.
I think the vast majority of people who work on a Kubrick film do suffer some sort of abuse. Even Scatman,
Yeah.
Scatman Crothers, because Jack Nicholson had suggested him for the part, and Scatman had a tough time with over 100 takes for one scene. His next film was Bronco Billy, which was directed by Clint Eastwood. Now, Clint Eastwood is the complete opposite to Stanley Kubrick. He pretty much does things in one take. He goes, okay, it's the scene, do it. He goes, okay, that's great, let's move on. And when he done that, after the very first take he done with Scatman Crothers, Scatman broke down and started crying and thanked him because he was the negative effect he'd had from just working with Stanley Kubrick, having to do one scene 100 times.
That's just terrible.
It's terrible. Well, this is the thing. It's there's always that debate about whether something was worth it. Like Hitchcock used to put some people through horrible things to get what he wanted. William Friedkin on The Exorcist, I know that there's a few things I heard about that. On that, there's a scene where the priest quickly spins his head round, and to get the shocked reaction, without telling him, Friedkin fired a gun right next to his head to get him to turn around. The priest at the end of Exorcist, who's shaking, reading the last rites, he weren't like a proper actor, he was a friend of Friedkin's, and just before they shot it because he didn't get what he wanted out of him, he said, "Trust me." He went, "Yeah." And he slapped him really hard around the face and went, "Right, action." So the adrenaline pumping through him made him sort of shake more.
Yeah.
And you think it is abuse.
It's harsh, yeah.
I don't think directors would get away with it. What was his name? Who worked on I Heart Huckabees? I know there's a famous thing of him blowing up at Lily Tomlin, like really shouting at her, being abusive to her. He was abusive on Three Kings, and George Clooney got into a fist fight with him over it.
Wow.
So it's amazing how, even quite recently, you get some directors can be quite abusive and very demanding. But some people would cite someone like Stanley Kubrick as justification for acting that way because they say, one of the all-time greats, he got great performances out of people by being abusive.
But it's not. That's not how you should go about it. I mean, obviously, The Shining is a magnificent film, but I don't think that the level of abuse that they all suffered, especially Shelley Duvall, because she obviously didn't continue acting for much longer after this. She really suffered because she was so because the abuse didn't just obviously with the Razzie as well. Like she suffered abuse after the film as well, and it completely destroyed everything for her. So I just don't think that it's right to do that to anyone, no matter if it's for anything.
But would Neiman be such a good drummer if he didn't have that abuse?
That's a film, Dad.
I know, but that's why I like Whiplash so much, because I think it is a good mirror on how some people's work ethics and how some people justify. They say, well, if I wasn't this cruel and this demanding, would I still get the same performance out of you? It's the carrot and the stick, isn't it? Some people just use the stick too much and not the carrot enough.
I don't think to get a good result out of anyone you should abuse them. I think that it's a level of educating and telling and helping someone as much as it is like, I mean, because for example, I know from experience with my art teachers, right? Sometimes I found they were never like abusive, but sometimes I found their critiques really harsh, and I honestly have never really found that what they said helped my work significantly enough for me to value it. Because I know, for example, some of my other friends, they never followed my teacher's criticisms and they still did very well in art. And so I don't think that necessarily telling a student that what they're doing is wrong will create a good outcome, because I think it can destroy a lot of people's passion.
I think it can. I think it's a fine line to walk, because I think a good teacher would recognise what a student reacts better to, whether they react better to positive or negative responses. Because say if a student, they look and they think, I'm not happy with this work, but if I tell them that it's good, they're not going to improve. If I tell them it's bad, they might shut down. So it's a minefield for any kind of teacher, or in this case, a director. I don't think Stanley Kubrick stayed up at night wondering if he was being too abusive to anyone,
No.
let alone Shelley Duvall. Because he was very sort of self-centered and thinking, no, my aim is to make the best film I can make. I don't care whose toes I tread on. And of course, as we mentioned in the last episode, his abuse of, say, Jack Nicholson on this was one of the reasons Jack Nicholson turned down Misery, because he associated one of his worst filming experiences with Stephen King, even though it had nothing to do with Stephen King.
Yeah, it's just, that's the thing, obviously. Like, as much as obviously Jack Nicholson has done, like, has shot up from this film as well. Like, he was already famous, but this film is something that he's often known for.
Yeah.
I don't think he would. I don't know, but I don't know if he still appreciates it as much.
I think on some level, he knows that the day he dies, I always think about the day someone dies, how it's revealed in the newspaper. You know the picture they're going to use for Jack Nicholson.
Yeah.
This is his face coming through the door in The Shining. And it's arguably one of the most iconic shots in cinema history.
Yeah.
Even if someone hasn't seen the film, you show them that picture of Jack Nicholson sticking his face through the door, they go, oh, that's The Shining.
Yeah. But just because it has helped him in some ways doesn't necessarily mean it's good. You know?
No.
I think that often a lot of people will misconstrue like something bad happening to them and then something positive coming out of it being because of the negative thing. And like, obviously you can create positive things out of something out of a negative experience, but I don't think that negative things should be praised for creating positive things out of it. Because, as for example, Van Gogh, right? He was a tormented artist, and that is why he did so well, but he was never appreciated in his lifetime. So you could argue that all that torment did to him was, I mean, yes, it helped, it inspired his work, but at the same time, if he had been appreciated in his lifetime and had continued to create, I think you still would have just gotten just as beautiful a piece, even if it was different.
But we don't know. This is the thing. Nick Drake as well, that's another one. Nick Drake died not appreciated. It wasn't until after his death that his music then started resonating more with people. And that's a long time after his death. People then started. He's often, I only mention him because he often mentioned called like the Van Gogh of. He's the Van Gogh. What?
What did you say? Because he mentioned you.
Yeah. I only mention him because he mentioned me. No, because he's often referred to as like the Van Gogh of music, in the sense that he was never appreciated in his lifetime. I haven't been appreciated in my lifetime, so I know that one day I'll be held in the same esteem as Van Gogh and Nick Drake.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to get depressed and kill myself in my life.
But I would say that, for example, you're appreciated by the ones that love and care about you.
Well, surely they were as well.
Well, yeah, but for example, like certain people will. I can't think of anyone famous off the top of my head. But
Michael Jackson. That's someone famous.
Okay, that's not what I was meaning. I'm saying that even though you can have family and friends and people that believe in you, obviously for some people that's not enough. But what I'm saying is that sometimes you've just got to appreciate that there is someone there at the end of the day. There is someone there for you, but obviously it's harder when there's people out there that don't have that and don't have someone that believes in them, and that's always a sad thing.
I get that, but I think with some people it is that they just think my goal is, like, if I was as a filmmaker, would be to make a film that is respected by my peers, by fellow filmmakers. So not necessarily got to be rich and famous. I'm not bothered about that. I'd like to make a film which stands up throughout time, that people would refer to and go, oh, that was a great film, wasn't it? You know, whether it doesn't get appreciated in my lifetime or not, obviously I prefer to see it being appreciated. But if it was one of those things that got appreciated, it became successful afterwards, then great, you know. But there were millions of people, millions of there are loads of artists like Van Gogh who probably have just disappeared through time, who never found the success in their life or after their life.
I remember being enthralled by the film and finding it just quite captivating. I also remember afterwards learning of the abuse that Shelley Duvall suffered. At the time, it really helped with what I was learning about in school anyway, to do with like acting and the experience of many actors within the film industry. And she was obviously a good one to highlight because obviously the events of The Shining didn't help her in a way.
Yeah, well, again, it's the debate people have after they watch Whiplash, where they say, is it worth the result? And yeah, I think it's a balance. I can never completely sort of say something was wrong if it didn't lead to certain things.
Yeah,
You know, I mean, I'm not sort of bothered about organised religion, for example. But without it, we wouldn't have all that great Renaissance art. You know,
yeah,
things. It's it's hard to sort of. But I also think it's good in the sense that, like you said, when something bad does happen, to try and find positive from it. You
yeah,
know, not trying to justify it, not saying, well, it's good that they done that because otherwise we wouldn't get this. It's finding. I think everything does happen for a reason, and it's sad what happened to Shelley Duvall, but it doesn't mean I can't watch Shining and think what a fantastic film.
yeah,
You know, I do feel sorry for her, and she's unfortunately she passed away a couple of years ago, didn't she?
yeah, quite recently. It
Yeah,
is sad, and but it's good for her because in her later life, at least, there was a lot of people that would send her fan mail and appreciate her work. But that
yeah,
it came quite late for her, and
yeah.
that is quite. It's still sad.
It's sad, but again, it's all about perspective. She got a lot more fan mail than I've ever got. Again, I'm not saying that the abuse was justified. It's not at all. Again, just trying to find positives from it. But onto the film itself, I just love everything about. I can't. It's The Shining has been one of those most dissected films of all time. There's a reason I've taken so long to actually do a podcast on it because there's nothing really new you can bring to it, which other people haven't already said. But I can just talk personally. I love how it looks, the imagery, all even that which is just an ambient shot of the writing desk with Jack sitting at it. It's the symmetry that he uses and the colours, everything. I love the blanket of white snow when the isolation of it, everything. It's actually in a weird way, it's one of my comfort films. It's a film, if I'm going to sleep, I could put The Shining on. I know it might sound a bit weird on surface, but I just like the pacing of it, how it takes its time. Stanley Kubrick doesn't feel like he has to do like quick cuts all the time or anything, you know. And of course, you have got some genuinely unsettling, eerie moments in it, like the twin girls. The first time you see the twin girls is sort of emblazed on your memory. What are they doing there?
Yeah,
That's freaky. Actually, I think the first time you see them is when he's in that room and he sees them at the door and they walk away. But it's when they at that point there's other people in the hotel, so it's not too. You just think that's weird, girls. It's when he's alone riding his bike around those corridors, and you've already seen it a number of times, and nothing's happened. And he turns that one corner, and there's the two girls. You know, the personal experience of it what freaked me out because I already knew the film, and then in the mid 90s, I went to the cinema to see Twister. Have you seen Twister? Bill
a
Paxton
while
chasing
ago.
tornadoes. Well, when I was watching the film for the first time in the cinema, there's a part in it where it cuts to a bunch of cars at a drive-in cinema and they're watching The Shining. At that point, loads of people in the cinema, I think, thought as if there'd been a screw up with the projection because how it sort of drops into the screen of Danny cycling round and then he sees the two girls. For a second, I thought, oh no, I'm watching The Shining. And I actually genuinely got scared a bit. I thought, I don't know if I want to watch this film on a big screen right now because I did find it really unsettling as a child. Do you remember when me, you, and Catherine went to see Ready Player One?
Yes, I do.
And there's a big segment which is in the Overlook Hotel, which is like The Shining. And we didn't know it was coming. And when it happened, I think, because I think this is one of Catherine's favourite films, it excited her, but it was also a bit scary because you think, I know it's a Spielberg film. Spielberg, big friend of Kubrick's, but anything to do with The Shining puts you a little bit on edge, you know.
Yeah, which is good in a way, but it's obviously a bit frightening.
And of course, it's been parodied thousands of times. Simpsons done a really good one of it, and their Treehouse of Horror 5, I think it was.
Yeah, it was. Well, my mum's frightened of the film. She refuses to watch it.
Really?
Did you not know this?
No.
No, my mum will not watch The Shining. She's really not a fan of it. She's really afraid of it. She's never seen it, or properly.
She's definitely seen it. I'm sure I watched it with her.
Yeah, but she hates it. She really hates that film. Same as Labyrinth. She hates that as well.
Labyrinth, what? Because she's scared of Labyrinth?
No, she's not scared of Labyrinth. She's just because you apparently used to wind her up with one of the songs from it all the time. Whereas,
you remind me of the bit.
Yeah, she really hates it, and sometimes I'll just start singing it to wind her up. But anyway, not the film.
All fun and games.
Yeah.
On IMDb, what do you think?
Probably quite high, knowing how people receive it. I'm going to say maybe about 8.6 to
Close.
9.
No,
8.8?
No, you should have shut up from the 8.6. It's 8.4.
Oh, okay.
You said maybe 8.6. I was like, yeah, you get it. To 9? No. 8.8? No. 10.10?
No, I'm just saying, because of how critically acclaimed it is, I assumed it would be quite high.
It is, but there's some critical snobs about it. Some people who I think they're just contrary, and I know I'm accused of that sometimes, but some people will go, oh, it's not even the best Kubrick film. It's not even the top 5 Kubrick films. Have you not seen Barry Lyndon? Yeah, they're all great. Those are great films, you know. But it doesn't take away from how fantastic The Shining is. There we go. The critics on Rotten Tomatoes gave it 84%.
That's quite low as well.
Yeah, well,
in comparison to Misery, for example.
Yeah,
I even thought Misery was quite low, but that's very low for The Shining.
Well, Misery got 91%, so that's very good. I would have expected this to be about the same. But yeah, as I said, there is a lot of negative reaction regarding The Shining from some people. Stephen King, for one.
Yeah.
The audience gave it 93% though.
Yeah.
Which is actually higher than what Misery had, 90%. But they're very similar in that sense. They're very highly ranked, except for this one beats it on IMDb. The budget for this, again, a very similar budget to Misery. This is 19 million and made 48 million in the box office. They're very similar numbers to what Misery was, but and Misery was 10 years later. So in the next podcast, I'll be saying what I'm going to try and pin down my top 10 Stephen King adaptations. Try and guess some that are going to be in it there, and we'll see if they pop up.
I'm going to say the Tim Curry It, or the miniseries. Probably. Okay. I think Misery will be in there. I think The Shining will be in there.
Yeah.
I think maybe the original Salem's Lot.
Right.
Can't think of. And maybe The Mist.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know too many of the others. I don't know which other ones would appear in your list.
Okay.
But those are the ones I'm assuming will be on there.
Okay.
You just have to wait and see next week.
I'll tell you now. Right, at number 10 is Maximum Overdrive, directed by Stephen King. Have you seen that? No. It was actually the only film he directed.
Oh, I thought you were...
No, he wrote and directed a film in the mid-80s called Maximum Overdrive with Emilio Estevez in it. And it's actually quite a fun sort of 80s film. It's like all the lorries and stuff starts attacking people.
No.
So they're all high.
Yes, I have heard of that.
And it's got a big green goblin face on the front of one of the trucks. But when he's asked in later years, why don't you direct films? And he said, have you seen Maximum Overdrive? Like even he slagged it off. But anyway, it still might make my list. Wait and see. So please like, comment, subscribe, and share.
Bye-bye.
That's odd. Usually the blood gets off at the second floor.